We are turning our attention now to the NBA. DraftKings contributor Kenny Ducey and Ryan Magdziarz, host of the Four Seasons podcast for Ball is Life. Dudes, chase or fade the following DFS or sportsbook plays on tonight's 12-game slate. Looking at the top of the salary list, Nikola Jokic is the most expensive player on the slate at $11K. Are you chasing the Joker tonight or fading him in favor of another high-price play, Kenny?
I like karl-Anthony Towns here at 10.4K, so I am more than happy to take the $600 discount. He took this team to the woodshed last night, the Sacramento Kings, in the paint, 66 DKFP. With no Rashawn Holmes, there is clearly a really big difference between this team, which we thought that they had a bad defense without this guy, or with this guy, and without it is really bad. They are really struggling to defend, so I think that there should be a bunch of points on the board for Minnesota, who looks like a different team with D'Angelo Russell in the lineup. And karl-Anthony Towns here has a clear advantage over Hassan Whiteside or whoever else they try to throw at him in the post. I like him to have another big game here as long as he plays. He played 36 minutes last night. The minutes have been there for Cat, and he produced 6x value last night. I think that he could give you 6x again at a cheaper price. He was 10-6 last night. He's 10-4 tonight. This is just a really bad Sacramento defense. We can't talk about it enough, and I love this spot for a lot of the Timberwolves, particularly Cat.
All right, you want Joker, Ryan, or someone else?
Yeah, I want Joker. And don't get me wrong, I love the T-Wolves-Kings matchup and how many points are going to be scored there. But it's going to be really close to impossible for me to fade Jokic in the upcoming games. Just the other day, 139 to 137 win versus Memphis. He played 45 minutes in that game, 47, 15, and 8. They do everything through Jokic right now. And they play Portland tonight, which I think is going to be another two good teams in the West going at it, and it's going to get into a late game crunch. But if you're not willing to go with Jokic like I am, I have my eye also on that Russ versus Steph matchup, which could be pretty nice.
Ryan, how about some value here, though, dude? If everyone's going to be paying up for these high-priced players, looking at a guy like D'Angelo Russell, who is coming off a 42 DK point performance against the Kings just last night. So same matchup tonight. It's going to cost you 6-1. You like chasing him as a guy who will return the most value, or you fading him for someone else?
D'Lo is a little risky to me. I don't like the thought of playing him consistently. So I'm going to fade here, and I'm going to go with a young man with the name of Jakar Sampson for $3,000, league minimum. Sabonis is out. Turner is out. We know that already. Goga, I guess, tweaked his ankle a little bit last game, and he is questionable. So there's going to be no center on that roster besides Jakar Sampson. They're playing OKC, who stinks. That both teams right now play no defense. The Pacers have given up 109, 129, 119, 124, 126 in the last 5 games in a row. So it's just going to be a bunch of run and gun, chucking up shots, and Jakar Sampson, I think, is going to get a lot of those minutes.
All right, what do you think, Kenny?
Well, there is a world where we can coexist, Ryan and I, with our picks, because I do like Goga Bitadze at $4,200. I do think that he's going to play. It seemed like a minor injury last time out. The x-rays came back negative. Of course, you know, whenever I'm recommending someone on the injury report, definitely check it out if you're listening to this later on in the day, if he's actually going to play. But for me, it is impossible to pass up. As Ryan laid out, the matchup is great here against OKC. They don't have anybody down low, the Pacers, and Bitadze should be locked in to like 30 minutes as long as he plays and he's healthy enough to play 30 minutes. He had 28 DK fantasy points in just 22 minutes last time out because his night was cut short after 22 minutes. He still managed to have 28 DKFB. This guy has shown you what he can do in limited action. And again, I just think that given the salary here, like you're pretty much guaranteed to get 5 times what you paid for Goga as long as he's on the floor. And just OKC's sleepwalking on defense right now. So for me, he's my favorite value player of the night. But of course, I'm going to make sure that he's actually going to play and he's not too limited.
Kenny, take us over to the DraftKings Sportsbook. Which spread are you chasing?
So this is a little bit of a shock because the line, I believe, opened up at 4.5. It's down to 1.5. I like the Clippers here to win against the Grizzlies. They're only now 1.5 point favorites. Everyone's going to be chasing the narrative here with Memphis. They need this win. They're in that 7th spot out west. They want to get out of the play-in tournament. They're battling with the Mavericks right now. And also, they're really in danger of falling down to 10. I think they're only a game and a half clear of that. So Memphis needs a win here, but the Clippers have shown us time and time again, they're on the second night of a back-to-back. They are 9-1-1 against the spread on a second night of a back-to-back. They have shown us that they are deep enough. Rajon Rondo led the team to victory last night with Paul George. Like, they just have a million guys here who can score the basketball, who can get it done on defense. This defense has been legit, with or without Kawhi, Serge Ibaka, and Patrick Beverley. And the other thing is the Grizzlies have not been playing good defense. This is a top 10 defense this year, but over the last 10 games, they're down in 23rd in defensive efficiency. This defense has really kind of fallen back. It's gotten lazy. Maybe it's just getting a little tired at this point in the season, but we've seen them give in losses to, when Luka Doncic killed them on that 3-pointer from beyond the arc when he leaned in. There's a bunch of games you can point to down the stretch here of late where they haven't played good enough defense. They let up a bunch of points in that game. So I think that the Clippers defense is strong here and the Grizzlies defense is kind of wilting. And for that reason, and they're against the spread prowess when it comes to the second night of back-to-backs, I like the Clippers here to win this game.
Ryan, which spread stands out to you? Which one you chasing?
I like the Timberwolves plus 4.5. They played last night and the T-Wolves won by 14. D'Angelo Russell's back, and that didn't seem to hinder Cat or Anthony Edwards at all. Like Kenny already touched on, there's not a lot of defense being played this decade by the Kings, let alone this year. And De'Aaron Fox is questionable all of a sudden. So the Kings, without De'Aaron Fox, who is their best player by far now that Rashawn Holmes is out, I am surprised that this spread isn't bigger.
All right, let's go to a game total. Which one you chasing, Ryan?
I think the 229 for the Nuggets and Blazers is a little too low. So I'm going over. The Nuggets, all they do is score points now, 139, 128, and 123 in their last 3 games. Blazers also like to score points. It's been kind of low since Dame has been injured, but the reports say Dame is coming back tonight, which is another reason I like the over here. 229 seems a bit low, so I think this is pretty safe to bet the over.
What about you, Kenny?
I'm looking at this over 220 for the Suns-Sixers game. I think it's really too low. I think that we're giving the Suns defense too much credit. And look, it's a good defense, okay? The Suns, I'm not saying they don't play defense, but if you look at the last 10 games, their defense is all the way down in 109.9 points per 100 possessions. They're outside the top 10. Their offense is 5th in the NBA in that span. They've been playing more offense than defense. The other thing, this team is 24th in pace for the season. They are 12th in pace over the last 10 games. So they're playing different basketball right now. They're pushing the tempo. We're used to seeing Chris Paul grind these games to a halt at the point and them playing lockdown defense and just getting some timely threes. That's not how the Suns have played lately. For better or for worse. I mean, it's worked out for them. I mean, they're right on the tail of the Jazz. They're probably going to finish as the top team in the West, in my opinion. But it's not behind really good lockdown defense. So the Sixers do play really good defense. They do play slow basketball. But I think here that the Suns are actually going to try to push the tempo in this game. And I think that their offense is good enough to score on the Sixers. Ultimately, 220 is a very low total. And I think it's giving the Suns a little too much credit for what they've done all season. And not enough really attention is being paid to what they've done over the last 10 games.
Kenny, Slate approved pick time, my dude. Favorite DFS or sportsbook play tonight?
I like the Sixers money line here. I do. I'm going to stick in this game. I think Joel Embiid has a clear edge here in the paint. The Sixers are a top 5 rebounding team in rebounding rate. The Suns are outside the top 10 in that rate. I think 13th. So it's not a huge discrepancy, right? But that's one discrepancy. The other one is they're allowing almost a point per play on post-ups. We know the Sixers love to post up, whether it's with Embiid, Simmons, or Harris. Of course, the status of Simmons and Harris, I should mention, is up in the air. So you're going to want to make sure they're playing before playing Sixers money line. But they love to post up. They run 10% of their plays are post-ups. And the Suns have not shown a great ability to defend the post-up this year. So I think they have an edge on the glass. They've got an edge in the post. And ultimately, the Sixers are just playing better defense of late. So I'm going to side with the better defense, the better rebounding team. And I think that there's a discrepancy here in the matchup with what the Sixers love to do, and the Suns aren't really good at defending it. I think they win this game. And also, they've been great at home. Their best place to back them has been at home.
All right, Ryan, your NBA slate approved pick for tonight.
I think I have a pretty solid one. I like Bradley Beal over 1.5 threes made. I had to double take that to make sure it said 1.5. It seems pretty easy. They play Golden State, and threes are contagious. And Golden State is a run and gun team, and they make other teams kind of fit their format of three heavy. In the last 9 games Bradley Beal has played, only 2 have been under 1.5 threes. We know he likes to chuck up shots. He has more than 20 attempts in his last handful of games. I think this over 1.5 threes made for Bradley Beal is a good one.